Hello, my name is Bianca Askew. This is my makeup Zoom video for Module 5 team discussion that I missed. My CI Matheson stated to me that I needed to do 2 articles. The 2 articles that I will be discussing are see the names of them. We have behavior analytic research on dementia in older adults by Trahan, 2011, and um, studies using single subject designs in sports psychology, 30 years of research by Martin, 2004. Okay, just kind of summarize, give you an idea of what the first journal article is talking about. It actually talks about dementia in older adults, and it just talks about like the research that has been done so far. This particular paper actually reviewed 5 studies that provided information on strategies to decrease problem behavior and increase quality of life in older adults, but future research is still needed. There has been, like, I guess, a hold up on the use of behavior analytic interventions in gerontology. And this is because the big pharma always pushes the medical model. They feel that, medicine is the key to everything. But in fact, the pharmacological intervention based off of the medical model causes more side effects, such as delirium, confusion, morbidity, and mortality. It doesn't actually rehabilitate them, whereas behavior analytic interventions actually would be able to help to modify the behavior without medication, or with a reduction of using the medication in conjunction with the behavior analytic intervention. This actual literature review says there's 3 main limitations. The first is the need to further generalize the behavior, help with maintenance of the behavior, and provide training to staff. This is a huge factor, and I guess our barrier in providing the behavior analytic interventions. The second limitation is the need to address a wider range of behaviors. And the research has been geared towards only like behavior problems, engagement, and mood. The third limitation, it just fails to include individuals outside of long-term facilities. Like my mom, she has dementia and she's still independently living in her home. And if she had a behavior analyst that could come in and provide therapy to her for her behaviors, quite possibly she may be able to stay in her home even longer and have a better quality of care. I know that me being a student analyst, I have tried to work different strategies with her to help her with her short-term memory, as well as helping to continue to find motivated operators for her to remain independent in her home, with a somewhat good quality of life where she is, meeting her where she is. So many of the older adults, they're not, they're in long-term facilities, but these could include independent living facilities, assisted living facilities, apartments, homes. They could also be living with extended family members. So it's a combination of everything. So we have to be flexible as behavior analysts to be able to provide service and care no matter what the setting is. I just learned that regardless of the size of the population, yeah, there are so many the older population is huge. There's a lot of baby boomers. My mom's a baby boomer as well. Regardless how big the population size is, if the cost to provide the intervention is too great, then it's not going to occur. It's just not going to occur. They're just going to give them medicine to pop, because there's more benefit in that versus, providing something that's just going to solely modify the behavior, which ultimately does put things back in their hands to a certain in a certain degree, and it does have them maintain independence versus dependence on medicine, dependence on someone else to help them, which we're still going to have to be somewhat involved, but that would help to alleviate or take away some of the involvement as a behavior analyst. Let's see. I mean, and as a behavior analyst, as I learn more and more about these different subfields, it just seems like I've already been trying to do some of these things anyway, to jump in and dive in. I have so many interests in the subfields, pertaining to behaviorist or behavior analysis, to where it seems like it is our responsibility as future BCBAs to get out there to establish those links and collaborations, so that those students who do have those interests are able to get in there, get the experience, or create interventions, or actually able to do the research that they need to do to help gain more literature, to be helpful. So that's something that could do. All right, so let's get to this other article here. The name of that article, once again, let me say it again because I know I stated it at first. It is Studies Using Single Subject Design in Sports Psychology, 30 Years of Research. This is also a literature review looking at the research that has been done so far in the field of sports psychology using single subject design. So pretty much this article here talks about the use of single subject design in 40 different studies that included a total of 222 individuals, broken down into 119 males and 103 females. Of the participants, 101 were college athletes, 87 were youth athletes, 31 were recreational athletes, 2 were international competitors, and 1 was a coach. 9 of the studies focused on basketball, 6 focused on swimming, 4 focused on each of football, tennis, and track or triathlon. 3 focused on soccer, 2 each focused on figure skating and gymnastics, and 1 each focused on ballet, baseball, golf, ice hockey, pole vaulting, rowing, speed skating, and volleyball. I did play volleyball, and I played. I participated in ballet. I was a dancer. And I was in band, but they didn't even look at anything like that. Oh, and yeah, I did do gymnastics as well. So just to say a little bit about my background, not so just heavily into sports a lot. I ran a little bit of track also, just look just in there a little bit. But it's just some of the independent variables looked at were goal setting, self-talk and imagery, self-monitoring, instructions, freeze technique, modeling, feedback, hypnosis, and varied interventions. And then the dependent variables used were work harder practices, decrease in problem behavior, coaching behaviors, and skill improvement. Overall, these studies illustrate the potential of a variety of interventions for improving a variety of athletic behaviors in a variety of sports. But there is still more literature that needs to, or there's more research that needs to be done. And that just seems like that's the overall theme. And I think that may be the overall theme everywhere, but it just seems like because there's more funding now in behavior analytic or in ABA, that we have more responsibility to do more research. And yes, we have more of a responsibility to make sure that the research that is being implemented is cost effective. That is not going to cost millions of dollars, trillions of dollars to actually change somebody's behavior. So we have to be really creative in our interventions in order to try to make a difference. Let me see. And like whenever I was doing like my undergrad in the Department of Health and Kinesiology, my focus was health education. And I was doing research in that, looking at BMI, looking at behaviors, what made kids eat certain things, what made college students eat certain things, looking at or taking surveys in the community with those high morbidity, high mortality diseases. Um, Back then I just had a lack of knowledge. All I knew was that, hey, I wanted to be a health educator. And we were actually working on behavior change programs, but it was just in reference to health. It didn't have anything to do with, I guess, ABA or behavior analytic interventions. And had we known that information back then, maybe, or even now, I'm not even sure if students are aware of what journals to publish in. Because when I was doing my graduate, I worked on a grant, Your Health in Words and Numbers. And that pretty much looked at like how laypersons, looking at different races, different communities, but either rural or more maybe urban, communities. How do these people understand health information, when it's given to them, and who do they reach out to, and what are the barriers and limitations? I mean, and we did this implementing like focus groups, but we were looking at behavior change on the community level. And so if there was more collaboration and more awareness out there, potentially we could have more literature for research coming from these graduate programs, health, autism, IDD, gerontology, all of these different programs. I think it's just a lack of information being spread around, because I believe people are out here doing this research. It's just we haven't been talking. We got to communicate, and that's the main thing. So I think like once I become a behavior analyst, that I'm gonna go back to my university and spread this information to them and say, hey guys, if you're really interested in behavior change, that you can actually become a behavior analyst instead of or besides being a certified health educator. Because I had no idea how I was going to use that. And I felt like after sitting and taking about 100 to 20, 150 question 4-hour exam, how was I going to use this? It's pointless. I'm not even using, I'm paying for this membership. And really, I'm wanting to be a behavior analyst. You know what I'm saying? To create change that way in the community and to help people have a better quality of life, regardless of the population, pediatrics, gerontology, sports, all of those different things. I have learned so much in this class, specifically with the subfields. Yes, it's tedious because you have to read so many journal articles. It's like, but as you tailor, what field you're going to be in, I mean, you can kind of like, sift through and pick, well, I'm going to be reading this. I need to go to this journal. So, okay, I can go to this journal here and I can find this. Oh, let me go to AI, whatever, reach out to this person here and they can give me some information. Oh, what's the latest? But you have to stay abreast. And things are always changing. Technology is always changing and nobody knows everything. That's why we have to collaborate and work together and all in a what is it, in a multidisciplinary way. So that's what I have for my makeup module 5 team discussion summary. And I thank you for listening. And that's it. All right.